Okay, tomorrow and Friday, you can come to the school to pick up your bag of supplies that you will use to build your car and your catapults, okay? So that means that next week we're going to start designing and engineering our cars, all right? Before we start this process, we've done a lot of research. We also need to prepare our minds for the fact that it's going to be frustrating and we're going to have to fix things and it's going to take effort. So we're going to learn from some other inventors of our history's past and see what they did when things got frustrating and didn't work. We're going to watch this book, and after we look at this book, we're going to go into breakout rooms and discuss what does it mean to keep at it. Keep at it is probably a phrase that you've heard before. Just keep at it. But I want you to be able to discuss today, what does keep at it mean? Here we go.
Dreamscape presents The Inventor's Secret, What Thomas Edison Told Henry Ford. Written by Suzanne Slade. Illustrated by Jennifer Black Reinhardt. Not so long ago, the world was a little slower, a little simpler, and a whole lot quieter. No airplanes roaring overhead, no cars rumbling down roads, no phones ringing in pockets. Then things began to change because of two curious boys, Thomas and Henry, and one secret. Young Thomas got into trouble, a lot. It always started with an experiment. He just had to see how things worked. Thomas was curious about chemistry. He mixed up colorful potions in his basement, but explosions shook the house night and day. Thomas was curious about locomotives. He got a job as a newsboy, selling papers on a train, but one of his experiments set the baggage car on fire. Most of all, Thomas was curious about electricity, invisible energy that flowed and stopped, sizzled and popped. He tied wires to his cat's tails and rubbed their fur. Sparks flew that day. Henry was born 16 years after Thomas. He got in a heap of trouble, too. He was always doing experiments instead of his chores. He just had to see how things worked. Henry was curious about wind-up toys. He took his sister's toys apart, but couldn't always get them back together. Henry was curious about the rushing river. He built a dam and water wheel to catch its energy, but flooded the neighbor's field instead. Most of all, Henry was curious about engines, machines that chugged and purred, hiccuped and whirred. He built a steam engine from a 10-gallon can, tin blades, and a pipe. It exploded and set the school fence on fire. As Thomas grew older, he dreamed of creating his own inventions, electric gadgets to make life easier. He designed an electric pen so people could rest their weary hands. His sharp pen cut a stencil that made copies. In just one day, people could print a pile of copies that would have taken weeks to write by hand. As Henry grew older, he dreamed of creating his own inventions too. Powerful engines to make life easier. When he was 12, he spied something amazing. an engine-powered buggy. He'd never seen a vehicle that wasn't pulled by a horse. Henry sprinted up to the buggy, his mind filled with questions. What powered the engine? How fast did it go? What could it do? The driver boasted that the vehicle ran on coal and steam. It went about 12 miles an hour. Its engine powered farm equipment and huge saws. The mighty machine got Henry's mind spinning. An engine didn't eat or rest like a horse. It could carry people, mail, and news. Fast. From then on, Henry thought about one thing: making his own vehicle. A car hard-working families could afford. Then folks could go to town anytime, not just the weekly Saturday trip. They could visit faraway places they'd only heard about. But Henry couldn't even repair his broken watch. How would he ever build a car? Then he heard about Thomas's electric pen. What's his secret? Henry wondered. How did he make such a marvelous machine? Later, Thomas created an invention that recorded and played back sounds. When Thomas talked into his new phonograph, "Mary had a little lamb," it talked right back. His phonograph could also play music. Henry was still dreaming about cars. Everywhere he went, his pockets rattled with metal parts. When he was 17, he took a job at a machine shop to learn more about engines and machinery. 2 years later, a farmer hired Henry to operate a new steam engine. Soon, Henry began tinkering on a steam engine of his own. He strapped the homemade engine to an old mowing machine. His contraption sputtered along for 40 feet, then collapsed. Henry's design was a flop. But everyone was buzzing about Thomas's talking phonograph. Thomas's phonograph is amazing. It records sound. It talks. What will he think of next? What's his secret? Henry wondered. Meanwhile, Thomas was working on an electric light so people could read past dark. After changing his design many times, he created an incandescent light bulb that burned all night. Henry was determined to make his vehicle work, so he took a job at a company that made engines. One day he repaired a fancy engine from England. It had a 4-stroke cylinder that burned gas to create power. Fascinated, he built a model of the engine to see how it worked. Gas in, stroke 1, gas pulled into cylinder. Stroke 2, gas squeezed into small space. Stroke 3, spark lights gas. Power. Stroke 4, burnt gas pushed out. After that, Henry spent long nights and Saturdays working on his car. Friends and co-workers helped too. After 9 years, Henry finally rolled his creation out of his workshop. It had 2 cylinders for double the power, a 3-gallon tank for gas, and 4 bicycle tires for wheels. Henry's quadricycle could go up to 20 miles per hour, but it cost a fortune to make. Most people thought his rattling gas buggy was a joke. "Get a horse," people shouted at Henry. But the whole country was crazy about Thomas's electric light. Henry scratched his head. What's his secret? Still, Henry believed in his dream. Although he knew that other people were working on gas cars, he was determined to make the best. One that was easy to drive, big enough for families, and most important, a car everyone could afford. While Henry was working on his design, Thomas earned patents for over 100 new inventions. Henry couldn't stand it any longer. He had to find out Thomas's secret. So Henry hopped a train in Detroit and chugged 600 miles to New York City. That's where important businessmen, including Thomas, were gathering for a meeting. Henry did some fast talking and got invited to a big dinner with Thomas as the guest of honor. During dinner, everyone kept talking to Thomas. Henry peered down the table at the famous inventor. He waited and waited and waited. Finally, Henry gathered his courage. He moved right next to Thomas and told him he was building a gas car. "Is it a 4-cycle engine?" Thomas asked. Henry lit up brighter than any light bulb. He grabbed a menu and started sketching his engine. Thomas fired off question after question. Henry happily answered each one. And that's when it happened. Blue eyes sparkling, Thomas leaned in close to Henry. He banged his fist on the table. "Keep at it," he shouted. Henry smiled. "Keep at it?" Henry laughed. He'd known Thomas's secret all along. So Henry kept at it, year after year. He made a car named the Model A, but it cost too much for most hard-working folks. 2 cylinders, 2 seats, too expensive. He kept at it and made the Model B, still too expensive. 4 cylinders, 4 seats, even more expensive. Models C, F, K, and N weren't quite right either. Henry grew tired. How many letters would it take? Model C, bigger gas tank, extra footroom, costs too much. Model F, 5 passengers, still too much money. Model K, powerful engine, 6 cylinders, but too heavy, 1,800 pounds, and too expensive. Model N, lighter weight, but too small. Bumpy ride, but a good price. Then he remembered. Thomas had changed his light bulb design thousands of times before he got it right. So Henry kept at it. Finally, he made a special car, the Model T, though most people called her Tin Lizzie. Lizzie was light, fast, and had 4 powerful cylinders. She didn't have fancy extras like a driver door, gas gauge, seat belts, or shocks, but she had plenty of room for a family. Millions of people bought their own Tin Lizzies. She took folks to town whenever they wanted. She carried people places they'd never been. Best of all, she brought people across the country closer together. Things had changed. The world was a little faster and a whole lot more exciting. And it was all because of 2 curious inventors, Thomas and Henry. and one secret. Keep at it.
Alrighty. So you are going to hop into a breakout room, and I want you to discuss very quickly, what does it mean to keep at it? What does it mean to keep at it? Okay. We pop you in there, have a discussion. What does it mean to keep at it? And here you go. Okay, on Seesaw, you have an activity that is titled The Inventor's Secret. Go ahead and click on that light bulb, The Inventor's Secret. Add your response, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that first question. What'd you talk about? What does it mean to keep at it? What does that mean? What are some things that you came up with? William? Oops, I think I asked the wrong person to unmute. Go ahead, William.
Keep at it means to just keep trying until you figure something out that works.
Keep trying until you figure something out that works. Great. Okay, what more? Yes, Terrence.
Again, about keep at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like keep trying and never stop working until you try harder and you succeed.
Okay, so don't stop and keep trying harder until you succeed. Awesome. Leah, what does keep at it mean?
Never give up and make it better and better and better. And don't give up till you like your car.
Never give up and keep improving. Very good. He got to letter T in the alphabet. That is a lot of models of a car, a lot of models before he finally figured it out. Okay. What else can it mean? Camille, you had your hand up. What do you think it means?
I was going to say what Leah was going to say.
Oh, okay. So you agreed with her. Never give up and keep improving. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody want to add anything? What does it mean to keep at it? Okay. On slide 2 is your independent question. Slide 2 says, you are getting ready to build your cars next week. You will get frustrated. What is your plan to keep at it? So think about when you're making your car and it doesn't work. The wheel doesn't turn, it's not fast, it flips over, it turns to the right instead of going straight. What is your plan to keep at it? What are you going to do to keep your cool? Okay. I'm going to pop you into a breakout room all by yourself, no one else, all by yourself to answer this question. And then you're going to share your strategies with each other. Okay. So what is your strategy for keeping at it? What are you going to do when you get frustrated next week so that you don't destroy your car or give up? Go answer this question on slide 2. Okay, you were asked to answer the question, what is your plan to keep at it? So next week, when you feel frustrated because your car's not working, you can't get the pieces to stick, it's not driving right, the wheels aren't spinning, their car is faster than mine, I don't think it's going to work. What's your plan to keep at it? What's your strategy? William?
I would say, I got this. I'm not gonna give up on this or throw a fit.
Awesome.
I'm okay. Just have to keep at it and don't stop.
Love it. Self-talk. Okay, we've talked about self-talk a lot this year. I got this. I'm not going to give up. Excellent. Use self-talk. Other strategies of what we can do when we feel like it's too frustrating, when we feel like it's not working. Aiden G, what can we do?
We can keep on trying and not give up until it's right.
Keep trying It will get right. Okay? Those efforts that we keep giving will pay off. One of them will work. We just got to remind ourselves of that. Awesome. Leah, what other strategy can we use?
So, what you can do is, if you feel frustrated, you can go downstairs, take a little break, maybe have a little snack, then come back up here.
Take a break, get a snack, okay? Good, we need fuel for our brains. Sometimes we need a little bit of a distraction. Take a break. If it's frustrating, get away from it for a minute. It's okay to do that. Taking a break is one of my favorite strategies. You know what I also think? I also think that when I'm frustrated because something isn't working, I do a little bit of research. See what other ideas are out there. So do research. Look at other people's ideas. That definitely works too. Any other ideas of what we can do when we are feeling frustrated and want to give up? And no, you don't have to type all of this. This is your ideas. I'm just putting some on here, so you don't have to have all this, okay? Other ideas of what to do when you are frustrated. Yes, William.
To say, I don't care if it takes me a million times, I'm gonna get it.
Believe in yourself. That's very important. Right? So we can't say, I can't do this. That's not believing in yourself. So believe in yourself. Know you can do it. Good. Anything else? Okay. Awesome. I'd like for you now, please, to go ahead and click on that green check to turn in your ideas to me. Click on that green check. Yes, William, you can get some water. Camille, camera on. Daniel, camera on. All right.